pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'd ask the clerk to please call roll.
Bartlett. Here. Cook.
Here.
Hopkins.
Here.
Mudd. Here. Oldenettle. Aaron Scott. Here. Bill Scott. Wonkel.
Here.
Wormowski. Here. Williams.
Here.
Mayor Ezzard.
Here.
City Attorney Beard. Here. You have a quorum.
Very good. Is there a reading of the minutes this evening?
I'd like to make a motion that the minutes be approved as circulated.
And is there a second?
Second.
Alderman Hopkins. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Presentation of petitions? And any communications? No? And no claims?
Wow, you got it easy
Okay.
tonight, don't you? Jeez.
So we'll dive right in. City Attorney's report.
Thank you. I forgot to mention towards the end of that meeting, we did not need the executive session, so that's why we didn't have to stick around in there. We probably will have both of those items on at the next meeting. The first item I have is second reading of an ordinance amending the Jacksonville Municipal Code, alcoholic beverages. This is the fairgrounds license, second reading.
Okay. Is there a motion for second reading?
Motion for second reading.
Alderman Hopkins, second by Alderman Aaron Scott.
Be it ordained that the Jacksonville Municipal Code, Chapter 3, alcoholic beverages, be amended, changing the terms of the Fairgrounds Board and Fairgrounds Speedway licenses.
Any discussion? I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Mudd. Yes. Aaron Scott.
Yes.
Wonkel.
Yes.
Wormowski.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Second item is a resolution advertising waiver of advertising for bids and accepting proposals for the demolition of 203 and 205 East Morgan to be paid from the TIF funds.
And is there a motion?
Motion, please.
Alderman Hopkins, second by Alderman Bartlett.
Be it resolved that waiver or that advertising for bids is hereby waived and the proposal for demolition of the properties at 203 and 205 East Morgan Street for the initial demolition be awarded to Hood Demolition and Excavating in their sum of $238,000 to be paid from TIF funds.
Any discussion? I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Mudd. Aaron Scott.
Yes.
Wonkel.
Yes.
Wormowski.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good. Any public comment this evening? No public comment. Consent agenda items. We have one. Finance, IT, and Personnel, Alderman Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The one item tonight is the City Treasurer's Report ending December 31st, 2018, which was in your packets, and I so moved.
Fascinating reading. You really need to get into it.
Yeah,
And is there a motion?
I make a motion.
Alderman Cook, second by Alderman Williams. And, yeah, voice vote's fine. We'll voice vote. All those in favor of adopting the consent agenda, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Committee reports tonight. Finance, IT, and Personnel, Alderman Cook.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have two items tonight. The first one is a resolution approving the 2019 operating budget, and I so move.
And is there a second? Alderman Williams.
Be resolved that the 2019 operating budget for the city is hereby approved.
Any discussion? Yes, Alderman Wormowski.
So I know we said before that we have 6 months or 7 months of our budget in reserve. So how much, I guess I never looked for it or could find it, but how much money is in the reserve fund? Is it like 50% of 14 million, or how much money is in reserves?
In the general fund,
Yeah.
just the general fund, the ending balance in December was $12,589,505.92. Okay, what's our monthly budget for the general fund? We spent $1,200,000, so that's just that month. We're looking at 8 months, 7 months.
It's up to 8 months. I mean, we used to be talking about we're at 6 months or 7 months. So, I mean, I'm just a little miffed about the whole pumper truck thing. From the last meeting, the discussion was pumper trucks last about 20 years, maybe a little bit more. And we're replacing 2, I think at about 1.3 million. So we as a council, we need to have it where we're planning on putting aside $100,000 a year to be able to replace our pumper trucks in some sort of cycle. So right now, we basically have this surprise kitty that we could dip into to pay for the fire trucks. And we need to have some sort of plan for a big purchase like this on some sort of cycle instead of the way it is now. I mean, I guess the reason I'm kind of ticked off is that I've had the discussion before when we talked about the tax levy increase that, you know, why don't we go a little bit low on the tax levy increase? And the discussion has always been like, oh, we can't have all this extra, or we need to have all this extra money coming in. We can't dip into our reserves. The reserves are sacred. And so now here we go. We dip into the reserves with 1.1 million to pay for the fire trucks that we need. But we can't do the same thing when it comes to not raising property taxes on people. So I'm just a little, I don't know what to think. I don't know how to vote on this. I don't know if anyone else has any comments or ideas on this, but.
Any other discussion?
I thought that was one of the reasons why we were looking at raising it. Because for instance, that we knew that that was going to happen sometimes.
Well, in the finance meeting, we discussed this, and we wanted to make sure the other departments had capital improvement dollars, or if we would have taken, our capital improvement would have all gone to the fire department for 2 pumpers, and then none of the other departments would have received anything. And then we were on a timeline as far as the companies that we're buying these from. I believe they needed something by February 1st to save some money.
There would be a price increase on the apparatus come February 1st, approximately 4%.
And, you know, each year, if the council chooses to put $100,000 in each year and build it up for 20 years when we need new ones, that you can do that, or you don't have to. I mean, it's kind of what the council wants to do.
And that's just the pumpers. I mean, maybe with the ladder truck, that's something else we have to consider. So, you know, if we go back into November and December when we did the tax levy, it came out of Finance Committee that we wanted to have a 3% tax levy increase. And then it's like, oh, it'd be nice to have some more money and we can find ways to spend it. Let's go up to 3.5%. And if you look at the other taxing bodies in the area, they're limited to 2.1%. I mean, I think it's an accomplishment that we didn't go to the maximum 5 like we have in a lot of the years I've been on the city council. But to go back to the whole home rule discussion, to go back to, I think that's even before Andy Ezer was mayor. It's like we passed the home rule so we could have the sales tax to come in so we wouldn't have the same pressure on property taxes. And I haven't gone back and looked at what the history was, but we've been doing way more increase of taxes than other taxing bodies around here in terms of property taxes.
You remember when we did the home rule, and I know what you're talking about, Steve, Mayor Tindick chose to give up the tax on utilities, which was substantial. It was over $1.2 million, $1.3 million a year. So there was a little give and take there. While we did get a 3/4% sales tax increase for home rule, the citizens weren't ignored there, in fact, that utility tax was done away with, so it wasn't,
And-
Andy thought that was a fair thing.
And as being on the city council at that time, one of the motivating things for us was also that we were dealing with blight in the city, and the process in order to bring owners, homeowners, or whoever to change, to have a speedy process was through home rule, changing the home rule. Because otherwise, as I remember, it took months and months, and we had neighbors complaining about safety and health and safety issues within the neighborhood. And by the time we sent them a letter, by the time they ignored it 3 times, by the time they took, that it could have lasted for a year. And I know that blight was really a big issue back then, and that was one of, I know, mine and several other people who were dealing with neighborhood stabilization. That was our motivating factor.
Mr. Mayor, I think we're getting beyond the scope of the resolution, and I call for a vote.
Okay, I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Mudd. Yes. Aaron Scott.
Yes.
Wonkel.
Yes.
Wormowski.
No.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Second item, Mr. Mayor, is the second reading of an ordinance making appropriations for corporate purposes for fiscal year 2019 for the purpose of the city of Jacksonville, Morgan County, Illinois, and I so move.
Is there a second? Alderman Williams.
Be it ordained that the appropriation for corporate purposes for the city of Jacksonville is hereby established for year January 1, 2019 through December 31, 2019 in the amount of $41,918,058.91.
Any discussion? I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Bartlett.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Hopkins.
Yes.
Mudd. Yes. Aaron Scott.
Yes.
Wonkel.
Yes.
Wormowski.
No.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Committee reports, public protection, Alderman Williams.
Thank you. I have one. And it's resolution waiving the bids and accepting proposal for the purchase of one Pierce Rescue Pumper and one Pierce Pumper fire apparatus and related equipment for the Jacksonville Fire Department. I so move.
Is there a second? Alderman Bartlett.
Be it resolved that waiver of bids for, is hereby, I'm sorry, be it resolved that bids are hereby waived for the purchase of 2 fire trucks, and that the bid is accepted in the amount of not to exceed $1,343,417.
Any discussion?
I appreciate the need of the fire department. I guess I'm just going to throw a no vote out there just because I think in the future we need to have more of a long-term annual planning. Like, where's this money going to come from? We're heading into, there's all sorts of talk about heading into recession. And if we need a reserve fund and an emergency fund, I mean, maybe that might be the next couple of years. So I guess it's nice to spend the money down so we can maybe get more grants. I didn't know it was up to 8 or 9 months. Just don't know what to say, sorry.
Can I ask a question, Chief, on this one? The purpose, I was not at the meeting when this was discussed, the purpose of buying 2 as opposed to just buying 1 vehicle at this time?
If we just replaced our heavy rescue pumper uptown here, of course, naturally, it'd resolve that situation with that apparatus. But it would still keep 2 apparatus in service that are close to 30 years of age. So by buying 2 of them, we've seen a substantial savings between the sticker price on 1 and purchasing the 2. Substantial was in the neighborhood of about $130,000 on the package deal. So by buying 2, we're able to rotate them, move 2 of them out of service. We go from an average age of the pumpers of about 24 years to about 3 years average on all frontline apparatus for the fire department.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? I would ask the clerk to please call roll.
Bartlett,
Yes.
Cook,
Yes.
Hopkins,
Yes?
Mudd. Aaron Scott,
Yes.
Wonkel,
Yes.
Wormowski,
No.
Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, any old business this evening? Any new business this evening? Tony?
I think I had talked to you briefly about this before, but in light of all the craziness and the division that not only the country, but we find cities, we find neighborhoods, we find even families at this time that are really struggling to come together, I would like to have a resolution for next month, which would be kind to your neighbor, resolution for the city of Jacksonville, because we as a city have always been inviting and have always been family oriented. And I think sometimes that it behooves us as leaders in the city to try to let our citizens also know that we still care, and it's not above, we're not above looking at families and stuff in our community, because business and everything else is taking precedence. So I would like to have that as a resolution for our city next month, or how
Yep.
soon as possible.
We'll get together and we'll try to write one out. Okay? Yes, Chief?
I believe tomorrow Alderman Nettle is going to have some surgery. And I'd just like to remind everyone to keep her thoughts and prayers in their mind.
Thank you, Chief. Any other new business? All right.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
And is there a second tonight? Alderman Hopkins, we are adjourned.